Our second cooperative thinking strategy is the build strategy. Now you've created a productive learning community. Students are demonstrating they're using the achieve and score skills to manage their own behavior and to speak respectfully with each other. With the think strategy, they practice solving complex problems in teams. You're in your second or third week of establishing structure for your classrooms and making your expectations clear. Your students are not perfect yet, but they should be able to work more successfully together in your classroom. Remember to review all the strategies you've taught, achieve, score, think, as you introduce another cooperative thinking strategy. Achieve posters should be up, and a quick review occasionally should be enough. Score checklists are a part of both think and build, so the review is integrated into those strategies. The purpose of the build strategy is to help students to make a group decision on a debatable problem with sides to the issue. The strategy guides them on how to make decisions on their own and then to work in teams to find a compromise and a solution. The build strategy steps are B, break the issue into sides, U, understand both sides, I, identify compromises, L, list the options and vote, D, discuss your score. An overview of the decision-making process is represented in this graphic. You take an issue, then in teams you discuss side 1, find the relevant information. Then you discuss side 2, relevant information is also identified. And then the decision is made on what could be possible compromises. Blend the sides if necessary. It is critical that you remember to use the score skills during this process. During teaching the build steps, you introduce and describe the step, lead a guided practice activity, and then finally you will take it a step further and assign a performance task to transfer their learning. In this short text water war, let's walk through the steps. First, you teach the B step. Write the issue into sides, define the issue, and then differentiate between the two sides of the issue. Reading the first paragraph, we will be able to define and identify the sides. Clear Lake is a very popular state park. However, the people who live near the lake disagree about who should control it, the farmers or the townspeople. So, on the first part of the build sheet, you will see on step 1, we break the issue into sides. The issue is control of the lake. The sides of the issue are the farmers who want to control the lake and the townspeople who will want the lake to stay as a state park. Next is the U step, understanding both sides. We will continue to read the article to identify and to list the reasons to choose each side. Then we'll ask, what are the biggest problems of each side? Remember, here is where you recommend changes nicely and exercise self-control from score. If you look at the completed U step, step 2 on the worksheet, you will see the reasons to choose side 1. The farmers made the lake, they paid for it, water's expensive, and farmers will save money. The biggest problems, the town could lose tourist money and people could lose jobs at the lake, as well as animals and plants might die. The reasons to choose side 2, farmers haven't paid enough. Tourists spend money at the lake and in the town. Farmers may use too much water and destroy the lake. People have jobs because of the lake. So the biggest problems with side 2, the farmers might go broke, crops might die. If crops die, no food to eat. So now we will use the I step to identify compromises. We will review the two sides and the problems with each, discuss ideas for possible compromise, analyze the reasons and problems with those compromises, and revise them to address the problem if at all possible. If you look at the sample completed build worksheet, you can see a solution and a compromise offered by a student group. Farmers can use water up to a certain amount, lake filled each winter, emergency funds, and a drought plan were the compromises that this group came up with. The L step lists the options and vote. Restate the options that were discussed. Think about the options to decide where you stand. Vote for one option and record the option. The team decision here was compromise 1 plus some changes. On the D step, fill out your score checklist as you talk about how your team worked together on a decision. Next, you will apply and extend the build steps. Review the guided practice of the build steps or build steps with water wars now. And the teams reflect on their practice of the steps in teams. Now do a practice activity to transfer their learning to a relevant issue. Give teams a new controversial or debatable issue from your content or current events. They should use the build steps. Transfer and generalization of the build strategy happens when you use text that can connect to their own personal experiences. You can also pick more controversial or debatable issues from current events that you feel your students can discuss safely and productively. Focus on content-based issues. Congratulations! You've taught your students important lessons on taking responsibility for their behavior, on speaking respectfully to their classmates, and finally, it's working as a team member to solve problems and define compromises to provocative issues. You've guided your students through the gradual release of the learning of your content to the point where students can now individually and in teams apply what they've learned in new situations. This is true transfer learning when students own their learning. They're partners with you in the classroom.